Hey everyone, Marker from the Project here. Thanks for making time and coming to our info session, learn a little bit more about our program and what we have to offer. Let's run you through. What do we want to cover today? So I think first we want to go the details of our curriculum, what we're actually teaching, what students in our program are learning. I'm going to talk about a few examples of apps that people are building when they go through. Then also I want to touch on the mentorship sessions. That's really important for us, having really good mentors that help you out and prepare you and make sure you reach your personal goals. And then also what kind of skills you actually can expect to get out of the whole program and where you are at the end and what you should be able to accomplish. All right, let's dive in. Let's start at the very beginning, right? Curriculum. So what do we do? Let's first zoom out, right? So you're coming to a coding bootcamp, you come to theFirehoseProject, and you probably don't have a lot of coding background, maybe a little bit. Some of our students actually have computer science background, but the majority of students don't have any background, right? And then there's usually everyone has different goals, and we really adjust our curriculum to match those goals, right? So be it you're a job seeker, you want to switch careers, you want to be a junior web developer, that is definitely something that we adjust our curriculum for and give you additional information. Like, for example, you're a job seeker, you will get more training on databases, database structures, relationships. You also get interview training, right? You need to know how to interact in front of a whiteboard on a technical interview. You need to solve those technical questions. We also give you a bit of training on algorithm, and that's all coming with the mentors, right? There's one path that goes through, and then there's people who are entrepreneurial. They're coming to us, they want to build their own web application. And those are people that need a little bit different skills than people who are looking for a job, right? For example, it would make no sense if we trained them for a technical web development interview, right? For those people, we usually adjust our curriculum and go much deeper into user experience and maybe wireframing and figuring out different features and how to use user feedback, right? So that's the big picture. Different people who come in with different goals, and we're adjusting our curriculum. So right now I want to jump into the core curriculum, what all of our students are touching, before we actually split them up and train them differently based on their individual goals. So core curriculum is about the first 8 weeks of our 12-week-long program. And the very first day, we basically want you to build and launch a web application, right? It takes about 10 hours. Some people take 2 or 3 days. That's totally fine. But that's a simple advice blurting generator. It's nothing special. It's you can enter a quote about something. Let's make it startup advice, right? You can enter a quote, it gets put in the database, and a random quote gets pulled up every time you say, give me another quote, give me another quote. What does that do, though? Why are we building this at the very beginning and as fast as possible? Well, it puts you in the driver's seat, right? You're going to build a web application, and you're going to launch it live on the internet within your first couple days. Not only are you going to touch on all the tools, right? Your text editor, you're going to learn about your database, you type your first lines of Ruby code, you deal with HTML, CSS for the styling, and use the Rails framework. You touch on all of this, get familiar with all the tools, the terminal as well. You use GitHub and Git and Heroku. All these tools that the best startups in the country out there are using, you will touch to in your first 10 hours with us, right? It's kind of like this roundhouse kick of showing you how everything works and fits together, and then you actually launch something. And that's really cool because it's a web application that looks good, right, on your desktop, tablet, on your phone. And that's one of our goals. You should go to a party, pull out your phone, and say to your friends, hey, this is what I just built the last few days. And they should say nothing else but, whoa, this looks amazing. And that's the goal that we're shooting for, right? We're building real-world web applications that look good on all devices and that you're proud to share. And that's exactly what the whole feeling is. You're going to share this first app with your friends. They're going to add something to it. They're going to give you user feedback. And it's going to be really empowering for you because oh, okay, I can get there. I can build something. I can build an application and ship it out, right? Now we're cranking it up. That was just the first 4 days. So then the next 4 weeks, we're going to crank it up one level. So what we want to have you build is a Yelp clone, right? So if you're thinking about Yelp, I think the most fascinating or the most powerful feature that we're going to teach you how to build there is using Google Maps, right? Everyone knows that. We're typing an address into a form field, and then a pin comes up on a map, right? So we're teaching you how to write the code to actually translate that address into latitude and longitude, and then pass it into the Google Map API so you can get that pin on the map, right? So integrating with the Google Map API, which is a really powerful feature. We need to do a little bit of JavaScript there, but not too much. Then other features that we need on our Yelp clone, right, is, for example, you need to add things to the database, obviously, but you also want to have like user comments, right? Hey, this is a great pizza place. This is really cool. And you also want to have automated notifications if Johnny comes to your pizza place that you created on the Yelp clone and leaves a comment. You want to get a notification saying like, hey, Johnny just left a comment. This is what he said. You might want to reply to him, come back to the platform, right? That's like general stuff, user notifications and automated emailing. Then we're also going to build a user dashboard. So every user has metrics on how many comments they left, how many 5-star reviews they've given, how many places they created, how many comments, and where they are, right? So it's a little bit the dashboard with a bit of metrics and analytics, right? Pack that all together, give it a mobile-first design, so again, that looks good on your phone, and you have a pretty good product that you can actually use and use for something else, right? We made our Yelp clone about pizza places. Maybe not that original. One of our students, Pete, he used that same Yelp clone, and he's really into horse racing. So he actually mapped out all the horse race tracks in the US in his Yelp clone. And that's something now he's really proud of that app, and his friends are using it. And again, right, he's getting user feedback. That's the real world. Like, you're building real stuff that people can actually use, right? So that's the first 4 weeks. You launch your advice splitting application the first few weeks, and then we build the Yelp clone. And now we're going to keep it up one level, right? Always keep the learning curve steep. So then what we're doing is we're going to build an online video learning platform. Now, when I say platform, that means maybe a little more than just application, right? But if you're thinking about what that is, it's basically people can come there, create content, video lessons, and there's users who can sign up and they can purchase those lessons, right? So when I say purchase, we already like think about a feature like processing payments, and I think that's one of the best features of the video learning platform is processing payments. And we do that by integrating with another API, the Stripe API, so you can actually process credit cards, process payments, and get paid for users who are purchasing individual lessons on your platform. But now, if you're thinking about a platform, one thing that's really powerful here is all database relationships that we have to manage. So, for example, there's going to be an instructor, and he uploads lessons. And there's like, let's say, 10 users. And then we want to think like, which user can access which lesson based on if they paid or not? How does the money flow? And also, like, which user can only see the preview versus the full lessons? And if there's multiple instructors, we all need to deal with that on a database level, and we do that by connecting the databases and deal that with what's called database relationships. And that is something that almost all apps out there are powered by those database relationships, and that's something you will need be it on a job or if you want to launch your own application. That's really powerful. And obviously, we're also going to wrap this in so it looks good on your mobile, tablet, and desktop, and also like give like user authentication, right? You can log in, log out. That's something that we built from the very beginning stages. That's like a core feature of all web applications, user authentication. Now, those are the first kind of like 8 weeks, right? You run through that. You have your mentor helping you out. You're going through the guides, and you build that. And now what we want you to do next, right? We want you to take all these lessons that you learned, all the skills that you now have, the programming, the coding, the Ruby skills, and also apply them to either if you're an entrepreneurial and you want to actually launch your own application, we want you to apply those skills and build your own idea out, right? Be whatever. Like one of our students, Steven, he's really cool. He built an on-demand medicine delivery app. So it's kind of like an Uber clone for medicine, right? You can go in there and you say, hey, I need this and this, and you actually see a car driving on the map to your location, and you can walk outside. There's a driver, and you pick up your little box, and payment is handled automatically. That's what he built. We loved that project. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun helping him out and teaching him how to build that, right? Now, if you want to have a job, right, you maybe need different skills. So usually what we're doing is we're putting people on a team project, right? That means you will work together with other students in the program and the technical team lead and your mentors to build something together. Now, why are we doing that? It's really important that you know how to work the tools and work in a team, and also use the tools like GitHub for code collaboration. You want to have experience doing that, because that is exactly what you need on day one on the job. You need to know how to be an effective team player, because the best web applications out there are not built by individuals, they're built by really good teams. And the better you are knowing how to use the tools and communicating and making code changes on the platform GitHub, the better off you are. And that's also really important for the interviewing process, because people will look at what you've done on GitHub. That's all publicly available, and they'll judge you by how did you review code, which code did you write, which code did you actually allow to be pulled into the application, how did you critique, what was the communication process back and forth with other team members. Those are key skills that you need to have, right? So now if you zoom out, we can see how it goes. There's a core curriculum, right? We're building that by splitting generator, we're building a Yelp clone, and we're building a video online learning platform. Now, we have all these three, and then there's the mentorship sessions. And the mentors, your personal co-mentor, it's one-on-one sessions, they'll help you to adjust to what you need to learn, right? How does this work in practice? So, for example, let's say you are building a feature out on your Yelp clone, and you really want to build something a little different, right? Your mentor's there to help you to build that additional feature or make that adjustment or go a little off the core curriculum, like build something that really interests you, something that matters to you personally. And then later down the line, it's also, he's there for you during a team project, right? And he's there to do the interview training with you for the whiteboarding session. Or if you're an entrepreneur, it's also there like for user experience, right? I'm a co-mentor myself. We go through wireframes, we do the user experience, really think about how can we make this application so users understand what to do, and they can, in Steven's example, order their medicine really easy, and they know which button they have to press next, right? So those are the different flexibility in our curriculum, like going for your goals so you can achieve your goals. Now let's talk a little bit more about mentorship sessions, right? You have mentorship sessions once a week. We usually want to have mentorship sessions being like once a week for 1 full hour. Sometimes, most of the times, I oftentimes go over the other mentors too, but we want to do this and dive down deep and then build something real, build an additional feature, build something that is not covered in the core curriculum, build extra stuff, right? The other thing that we do, and I think that relates directly into the mentorship sessions, is our Q&A forum, right? Mentorship sessions at the Firehose Project are not meant to tell you that on line 5 you have a typo, or you have a missing semicolon on line 16. What mentorship sessions are for is additional, like, learning. That's when you get to like have someone there one-on-one teaching you how to build something that like you didn't understand, how to break a certain feature down, right? That's when you get that help to go to the next level. But what happens if you code on Thursday night, right, and you get an error message and you try to solve it and you're like, I don't know, I'm feeling stuck. That's where we have our Q&A forum. In the Q&A forum, you can go in there, you ask a question, you basically say, here's what I did, here's what I expected, but what actually happened was this good error message, and I don't know what's going on. You put the screenshot into the forum, and we help you. There's dedicated mentors in there, and they're going to give you an answer as fast as possible, so you're not stuck. You can continue learning, and you stop spinning in circles. And that forum really, really shines because it clears your app out of any errors, so you don't have any like weird things that you don't know what's going on. So you come to the mentorship sessions error-free. So you're not like, oh, can we quickly look at my code? And that's really important so you can take the most advantage out of your mentorship sessions. Then what we also have is weekly office hours. Every Wednesday we meet with all our students in a Google Hangout, similar to this. We could just all see each other and you guys could talk back and forth. And then we figure out, we go over big concepts like how the individual pieces of the web application fit together. We might troubleshoot. Some people who are further along might go and ask a technical question about GitHub, and we screen share and we explain that, so other people who maybe have not touched that yet understand, like, oh, this is what's going to happen down the line a little bit. Oh, this is how to use that tool. Interesting. And so that's also where students can learn from each other outside when they do the group project and they actually work together. So that's kind of like the support, the office hours, the Q&A forum and the weekly mentorship sessions. And I also want to quickly run into like, what kind of skills can you expect to get out of it? But before I run into this, guys, you should think about questions if you had any questions. Write them into the comments right below the video, so I can quickly check in a few minutes and then start answering them. So if you have anything right now, keep asking away, and then I go one question after the other and answer that. Okay, so now the skills. What kind of skills can you expect out of the 12-week Firehose project? So basically, in one sentence, you come out of the program, you can think of an idea, and you're like, oh, this is really an app that I want to build. And you can go sit down and you can start building it, and then you can launch it. That's the goal of the apprenticeship. You have an idea, you can launch it, you can build it. Obviously, if you want a job, right, you're going to get training in different areas. I mentioned that before, algorithms, database structures, right? If you're an entrepreneur, you get a bit different skills. You probably come out with more user experience knowledge, because that's probably more important for you to launch a really compelling product. So that's kind of like what you get out of it. You have the technical skills to either land a job or like even a bit more user experience to build a really compelling product that you actually built during the last 4 weeks together with us. So that's in a nutshell what we're doing. Then usually people ask me a few questions right off the bat, and I like to answer them. So people say like, how are your guides structured? How does that all work, right? I get one mentorship session, I have a forum, I have weekly office hours, I get that. But what about the lessons? So the lessons are mostly written guides, but we do have some videos, right? And I explained to you guys why that's the case. So the written guides are, at first we had videos, and then people said, the videos is kind of hard jumping back and forth. And then we realized, you know what, in the real world, you never get videos explaining you how something works. What you actually get is documentation, and documentation is always written. And so what you then have is like, you can go through and you can jump back and forth between the individual sections a lot faster if you have written guides. And also, while building out your capstone project or working on a team project, if you go like, oh man, how did I do user authentication again? You have access to those guides, and you can go back and use them as reference materials. And you're like, lesson 27 on the Yelp clone, that's when we did user authentication. Awesome, and you can go back. And then we send you videos to explain big picture concepts and the overview and like specifics that we don't want to write down, that's much better suited for video explanation. But not actually us coding on the screen. It's much better if you have an overview in written guides. I quickly check if I have some questions from you guys so far. Oh, that's a good one. I just got one via email. How many hours a week? That's a great one. So hours per week, right? So we say the minimum is about dedicate 15 hours per week, right? If you have a job, we don't want you to quit that job unless you really, really hate it, right? But keep your job and dedicate about 15 hours to coding per week, and you should be able to get through the core curriculum and build your capstone project or work on a team project, no problem. Now, there's a lot of people that dedicate more time towards the apprenticeship, and it totally works because your mentors are there for you and they keep challenging you with additional curriculum pieces and modules. For example, you go deeper into JavaScript, right? We might teach you a little bit more of like how to build another feature in JavaScript. We might go deeper onto SQL queries and how to talk to the database. Those are things that you do one-on-one with your mentor then, and they might give you additional guides and materials that you need to go through and problems to solve. So that said, one student right now who just got a job while he's still in the program with us, he put in about 40 hours per week, maybe a little more at times, and that's kind of like the max. There's like a curve that goes down really fast. If you start coding a lot more than that, you're not that productive anymore. So anything between, I'd say, like 15 the minimum, and then 40, 45, maybe 50, but not much more. That's kind of the time that you can dedicate. So it's not like, well, I want to do this full time. Perfect. I'm all game, right? Come to us, and we make sure that you have enough to go through and learn everything that you need to do. But if you only have 15 hours, that totally works fine. Now I have one other question that I got earlier via email. Okay. Somebody asked me, didn't see the name in the email, asked me what support is provided after the program is over. Great question. So like a network, alumni support. So first of all, you meet students, right? You meet them in the Hangout, technical office hours. You also meet them doing a group projects, right? You work together on a team. So those are already like your network, right? You have them, you can follow up with them, you have the email addresses, right? Then other alumni support, what I do is I spend about 2 hours every week talking to our graduates, right? Graduates call us. Like a couple of weeks ago, we had somebody be like, ask us a technical question, and we quickly help them out, right? Or a bigger picture is like, hey, my startup should go left, right? What should I do? How should I build this technology out? And that's what we're here for. I mean, all of our mentors usually give their phone numbers even to their students, and you have our email addresses, and we're here for people, and we help them out. So then, obviously, like, if you want to have even more interaction, like, we can totally facilitate that and have like group hangouts and check in with all the alumni, that kind of stuff. But usually that so far has worked really well for people, have their support of their group that they work together, they're really close-knit, and then also have access to your mentor and to me and the rest of the team to ask additional questions and get help down the line. I got another question here about cost. That's a good one too. So how much does this all cost, right? So it's 12 weeks. Right now charging $4,500, and we have multiple payment plans. So if you pay everything up front, we give you a $500 discount, makes it easier for us to process all the payments. Then we have multiple payment plans. You can, they're all on the website too. You can pay $900 a month, $500 a month, and then you have like multiple payments, monthly installments. But you can also pay like $1,500 for like 3 months, or the lowest is $500 for 9 months. Those are payment plans. And let me check if I have more questions. Other than that, I think I'm fine. If you guys have nothing else, then I'm good. If you have any other questions, you know, tonight you're like, oh, man, I wish I would have asked that. You have my email. Just shoot me an email, and I'll help you guys out and answer your questions. But other than that, that was good. I hope that was helpful to you. Let me know if you liked it. And yeah, any other questions? Happy to help you guys. Take it easy.